Out to the latest on President Trump and the fallout from his remarks attacking Ukraine's President Zelenskyy, calling him a dictator and falsely blaming Ukraine for starting the war with Russia. Our chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is tracking this for us. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Michael. Well, for 3 years, the U.S. has stood firmly behind Ukrainian President Zelenskyy as he fights off a Russian invasion. Now, just 4 weeks into office, President Trump is upending that bond. In a dramatic 180, he is pivoting towards Russia's Vladimir Putin and away from President Zelenskyy, now accusing the Ukrainian leader of being unsuccessful, unpopular, and illegitimate. And their war of words is escalating. This morning, President Trump intent on reframing the war in Ukraine. After falsely blaming Ukrainian President Zelenskyy for the Russian invasion, Trump now labeling the U.S. ally a dictator.
A dictator without elections. Zelenskyy better move fast or he's not going to have a country left.
But Trump using no such label for Russian President Putin, who has targeted his political opponents and overseen Russian elections widely criticized as neither free nor fair. Zelenskyy, the former comedian turned wartime president, won by a landslide in 2019. He's polling over 50%, but has been unable under the Ukrainian constitution to hold elections while the war rages on and the country remains under martial law. Zelenskyy accusing Trump of spreading Russian disinformation and Kremlin talking points. Saying President Trump unfortunately lives in this disinformation space. The Vice President J.D. Vance coming to Trump's defense and scolding Zelenskyy, saying in an interview the idea that Zelenskyy is going to change the president's mind by bad-mouthing him in public media, everyone who knows the president will tell you that is an atrocious way to deal with this administration. Trump's comments sending shockwaves through Europe, the German chancellor saying it is simply wrong and dangerous to deny President Zelenskyy democratic legitimacy. The intense public back and forth began when Trump falsely claimed that Ukraine started the war. But it was Putin that invaded Ukraine 3 years ago, Russian troops storming across the border. Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence trying to set the record straight, saying, Mr. President, Ukraine did not start this war. Russia launched an unprovoked and brutal invasion, claiming hundreds of thousands of lives. The road to peace must be built on the truth. All this coming as Trump has been excluding Ukraine from negotiations to end the war. Putin relishing the reopening of relations between the U.S. and Russia after a 5-hour meeting between senior Russian and American officials without any Ukrainian representation. Putin praising Trump, saying the talks have gone well and that he would like to meet with the American president. But back in Washington, some Republicans aren't so welcoming of this new thaw in relations, though most have stopped short of directly criticizing Trump.
Vladimir Putin is a gangster. He's a gangster with a black heart. He makes Jeffrey Dahmer look like Mother Teresa.
Democrats are sounding the alarm.
It's a really disturbing day because it will have impacts on international security and on the security of the United States, full stop.
Now today in Kyiv, President Zelenskyy is meeting with Trump's special envoy for Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, for what is sure to be a tense discussion. Robin.
It sure will. All right, Mary, our thanks to you. And we're going to get the view from Ukraine and reaction from America's allies to President Trump shifting toward improving relations with Russia. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, is on the scene for us there in Ukraine. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. I think it's fair to say this is a continent reeling from President Trump's remarks. European leaders meeting again, that's twice this week, to come up with ideas not only on how to end the war, but how to police a ceasefire. Some of them have been calling President Zelenskyy since President Trump's remarks, offering solidarity. But while all the talk is of peace, this is the reality on the ground. Russian strikes every single night, 161 drones attacking overnight. Ukraine's #1 priority in any kind of deal is going to be meaningful security guarantees. As Mary said, Trump's special envoy is in town today, and that's going to be a tough meeting. British papers, interestingly, are reporting a European peacekeeping force, possibly around 30,000 strong, is being considered. Remember, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, President Macron of France, both due to meet Trump next week, and that's also going to be a tough meeting. But it's worth remembering the people at the centre of this war. We've just been to a hospital that houses wounded warriors, many with terrible, terrible injuries, and they're in no doubt who started this war, and that any deal to end it means finally being safe from Russia. George?
That is where the focus should be. Okay, and thanks very much. We're going to